What up, though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me while I get my 10,000 steps in today. And I had somebody make a comment. I think it was a troll. You saying getting steps in is pointless. Nah, I disagree. I think getting steps in is a wonderful thing, which is why I always encourage you guys to get out here and do it with me. Get them 10,000 steps in. You know, he could have just been trolling, but he actually could have meant it. Nah, man, get them 10,000 steps in, for real. You'll be better for it. There's no downside to it. It's just a matter of getting up and moving a little bit. You know, you'll feel better for it. You'll be healthier for it. There really is no downside. But on downsides, let's talk about Eric Adams, the mayor of NYC, man. This guy, he facing a bit of trouble here. He has been indicted behind some probe. You know, he was talking about, now it's funny because he was talking just recently about there may be some charges and they were going to be false and he was going to fight them. Like, he was just saying this. And I saw a news report that was talking about this story, and in the middle of them talking about it, they also got word in breaking that he was now being charged. So it went from it possibly being charges that he was gonna fight to, while they covering the story, they're like, oh, breaking, he's actually being charged. So what is he being charged on? I don't know everything, but it does seem like is tied to taking foreign campaign funds or foreign bribes of the sort. So that's definitely something you cannot do. He says he's gonna fight these things, at least he did before the charges were made. He probably still intends to do that. But just what we've seen happening so far, stuff is not looking good. He's had a lot of people around him resign. He's had calls for his resignation. I think, what's her name? AOC. You know, she's a bit of a vocal New Yorker, and she was calling for his resignation. And this is before the charges even came about. She was saying how she just didn't see how he could, you know, battling whatever he was battling and still effectively run the city. You know, there might be some truth to that, I don't know. But usually, you know, when this sort of stuff comes out, the person in question is stubborn about resigning because the position of power that they've managed to beat and scheme and squeeze to put themselves in, they are not ready to let it go. They are not in any way, shape, or form to, you know, ready to let it go. They aren't even ready to let it go when it's their time to. They're only doing so because they've ran for X amount of times and they can't run again. Like, for instance, being governor, you get 2 terms. You know, if a governor is able to run for more, they would absolutely run for more. But, you know, we got term limits now. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good for them. This thing, the timing of it is kind of funny, though, you know, and I say funny loosely. But this is the same man who, what was it, just last year, he gave Diddy the key to the city. He said the bad boy of hip hop or of rap, I don't remember exactly which term he used, but it's getting the key to the city from the bad boy of politics, you know. And I mean, it was a little corny, but everybody out there loved it, so they just kind of ran with it. Now you skip forward now, you got the situation happening with Diddy, right? You got the situation happening with Diddy. Things are not looking good for Diddy. And then now this situation happening with him. The 2 bad boys of their respective genres, right? Now, it's very possible that this situation has nothing to do with Diddy at all. So I'm not suggesting that, you know, whatsoever. This could just be a coincidence that Diddy's getting jammed up and now and now he is too. But the timing of it's very interesting to say the least. Then you take into account that the migrant situation, he was starting to be a little noisy about that. He was starting to kind of speak out about the migrant situation there in NYC. But he was quiet about it for the longest. But after a while, because the thing is, it's an election year, right? It's an election year. And eventually, the very people that he's failing to service, he's going to now need them to go to the polls and vote for him. So people, they remember stuff like this when it's time to go vote. They remember that you had the city overran with migrants and was doing nothing about it. Crime was rampant. It seemed like crimes just simply weren't being prosecuted. Now, I'm not in New York, obviously. I'm in Detroit, so I can only go by what the reports were saying that came across my timeline. But a lot of this stuff, it just did not sound very good. Even if it was a little embellished, there's some truth in there. It just might be a little embellished. But they're talking about migrants getting thousands of dollars a month and like EBT. I don't know how accurate that is, but that does not sound good. You hear about migrants staying in hotels. You hear about the crime shooting through the roof as a result of migrants, the influx. I've seen for myself that businesses are shutting down, and I've seen for myself that tourism is down. So people, they're going to remember this stuff when it's time to go vote. So he was starting to make a little bit of noise because bottom line is, when it's time for people to go to them polls, when he's starting to, run again for re-election, he has to be able to say he was trying to do something, that he wasn't just complacent the whole time, which he has been. But now he can't keep that same quietness, not if he wants to win, not if he wants to run and win. He can rerun all that he wants, but if he wants to win, he has to make it seem like, oh, he just wasn't for this. He stood up for New Yorkers and whatnot. So he was starting to, speak out, be a bit more complaining about the situation happening there in New York. Shops closing, crime is up, tourism is down. Inflation is kicking the crap out of them, much like everywhere else. I seen a bag of Doritos at one of the bodegas for $1.50. That's insane. And it was like the smaller bag too. That's crazy. That would have me just completely give up on eating chips. There's this YouTuber that I watch, really charismatic fellow. I absolutely love his content. I can't remember his name because I just recently subscribed to him. But he's a white dude. He be out there with his camera, very well spoken, he be doing the shaky cam, and he tells you every day about what life is like in New York. Very entertaining content. And that's where I was able to see a lot of the different stuff that's happening from him. The reason why I take what he's saying and trust it a bit more, I'm not saying he's telling the truth about everything or everything that he says is accurate, but the reason why I'm more willing to trust what he's saying over mainstream media is because here's a guy that actually lives there, all right? He's in the streets, walking around and showing you video evidence of what's happening. He's showing you, buildings closing up. He's showing you, that there's homeless and all this sort of stuff. He's showing you. He's out there reporting on how crime went up. His video that he dropped, I want to say today, I was looking at, and he was talking about how different bodegas and the little shops, they're outside shops for people to, get their Doritos, get their M&Ms, get their lottery tickets. They're being robbed weekly and seemingly by the exact same people. That is insane. So you can't have that happening in your city and then be like, oh, re-elect me, when you were on the job when this stuff is happening. You were seemingly quiet when this was all happening on your watch. So It's just, it's a lot going on, and I think we gonna learn more and more about this. It is interesting that when he started being vocal about this stuff, that now things were starting to happen. I mean, we saw that he was not at the Democrat National Convention. He's the mayor of New York, and he wasn't at the Democrat National Convention. That was kind of strange. You know, he was saying something to the effect that people really not messing with him no more. They not really getting on the phone. That's also strange too, especially if these were people that you were dealing with before, and now, you know, now they not messing with you. That's probably why he figured that some charges was coming against him, because somebody somewhere probably went ahead and dropped it down to him like, bro, yeah, you being investigated, everybody knows it, and you nuclear right now. Now, I'm not going to say that the stuff that they after him about is trumped up, because it's very possible that this is real stuff that they didn't, you know, brought up against him. It's just when he was willing to play, when he was willing to play along, that stuff was going to stay quiet by the powers that be. But now that he's not quietly playing along, now they looking to move him, and his quiet, obedient, and willing replacement will be soon to follow. So we'll see what happens. I'll bring this up again as more stuff comes out. I appreciate y'all connecting with me. You know, get back to these steps. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.